FeFi is getting live. First of all, this Zoom recording, this Zoom is being recorded, which means if anybody has an issue with it, turn off the camera. Otherwise, I would love to all of you who are gathered right now to turn your camera off, unmute yourself, because we want to make this thing more organic, more natural, more seeing each other, because this is the main theme of our festival, our FeFi festival. All seeing, we want to see you because you are also seeing us. So if possible, please, yes, thank you, put the camera on. Hi to everybody. So this is the first debate. FeFi has started on 4th. You can see all 4 short films and the rest of it until the 10th of March. So I want, first of all, welcome 2 of my guests. First one is Anastasia Kazabon. Anastasia, hi.
Hello.
And Charlotte van Hisswijk, she's one of the directors. She's the author of Frišno, one of the greatest short films, also presented at FeFi and at GRRL HAUS CINEMA. So FeFi has started, it's the first feminist Slovenian film festival. I would like also say thanks to the other 2 people also who are responsible for this festival to happen. This is Žiga Brnik and Jana Burger. So this is the 3 of us who are making FeFi happening. Those who are watching on Facebook Live, enjoy. So I hope you all watch those 4 fantastic films that we selected for our section called Frišno. Frišno is the Slovenian word meaning fresh and comes from the German word Frisch. So there are some connections between Slovenian or at least Mariborian culture and the German Oberlin culture. And this is the reason why the first evening of FeFi has this connection with Berlin. Me living in Berlin, GRRL HAUS CINEMA is the collective or festival based in Berlin, and Charlotte is also Berlinerin now. First of all, Anastasia, you are one of the representatives of GRRL HAUS CINEMA based in Berlin, but the story started, I think, in the States. Is this correct?
Yeah, I'm actually the creator of it as well.
You are the creator, wow.
Yeah, so GRRL HAUS CINEMA, it's a program of short films by women filmmakers and also non-binary, genderqueer, trans people. And we focus in on low budget DIY filmmaking, kind of with like a punk aesthetic. That's how the name GRRL HAUS actually started, from the Riot Girl movement. And so I actually started the collective in 2014 in Boston, Massachusetts, with some of my other filmmaker friends. And we started a festival at the Brattle Theater. And we still hold the annual end of the year festival at the Brattle in December. We usually have it. Unfortunately, this year with Corona, we didn't have it, but hopefully we will this year. And in 2017, I moved to Berlin. So we moved the whole collective here, and with that, it's kind of expanded to monthly screenings, art exhibitions, music performances, dance performances. But my focus is curating the film aspect of it, so the short films. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at now.
Tell me, so you are doing the festival basically the whole year. It's every month in one cinema in Berlin. This is how I got to know you, basically.
Yeah. So we have the final film festival, which is in Boston, and then we have monthly screenings in Berlin at Loophole and with Mobile Kino. We have the outdoor events over the summer. We also, we've worked with other theaters too, Il Kino, Oblomov, and then and then our expanded like art exhibitions, which my curating partner Eleni is mostly in charge of, and yeah.
So tell me, how do you select the films? Because Charlotte was one of the best 2019.
Yeah, so that was the best of 2019, and I think Daphna's film was also in that program. Yeah. Usually we curate for the monthly screenings kind of themed sets, and then from that we select kind of the best of for the bigger screenings. But I'm always trying to, one of the most important things is to get a diverse group of films and filmmakers. So it's really important to have kind of traditional narrative films, and then the more experimental and video art. That's one of the biggest things for me with curating, kind of getting a mix of all of that together.
Yeah. Well, regarding the 4 films that were selected, 2 of them were yours, 2 of them were mine. Yeah. So Washed from Daphna Amero and Charlotte's Freiraum was my selection. Yours was Synchronizacija from Anna Kasinska and On the Dimly Lit Path by Janai Brown. So those of you who haven't seen it, you can still watch it until the 10th of March. And it's a very diverse selection, and basically we made for this segment Frišno. But as I already said, Charlotte, you were one of the best of 2019. So because, you know, Charlotte and me are friends, so it's a little bit different to ask stuff about that, but I will still do it. And Charlie, why did you make the Freiraum? And what does Freiraum means in English language?
Yeah, maybe we start with that. It literally translates to free space. Which is basically what the film is about, like freeing up space for women, because I'm sure that most of you are aware of a phenomenon called manspreading, which I'm sure like every woman is aware of, like stepping into public transport. It's just very noticeable that a lot of men still take up a lot more space than they need, while women often will, you know, make themselves much smaller than they have to be. And that was sort of I was noticing this whenever I was getting on public transport and thinking about it a lot, and then sort of coined the idea to make a very, very short, it's only 3 minutes long, it's a very short film, but that's what sort of coined the idea, to like put a magnifying glass to this very small issue, which is, I think, a symptom of a much larger problem.
Which is men taking space and not,
yeah,
dismissing women from the space. But you know what, I was planning to ask you, those red shoes from the protagonist, does it have anything to do with the red slippers from the Wizard of Oz? Because, you know, the Dorothy, every time she does that with the slippers, she moves somewhere, she goes to the wizard and there's nothing behind. So is there any connection maybe, or it was just a coincidence? I don't know.
I think that's probably the most interesting thought that I've heard about this film. No, it wasn't a very conscious decision, other than for the fact that I wanted to sort of like build a character that, I don't know, to me these kinds of shoes, like, okay, I have to take a little detour here. So the protagonist is played by a friend of mine who's also a dancer, Patrizia Bieri, and the way I've always known her as like this very strong and powerful woman, and she would always show up like looking immaculate and wearing these kinds of shoes. And to me, that was just a symbol of her, I don't know, of the way she carried herself, and of this sort of like sense of self that she had. And I've always looked up to her in that aspect. So choosing those shoes, I just thought they fit her as a person and the character as well. So it was more like a decision based on the actual person behind the protagonist.
Anastasia, you saw Freiraum, yeah, of course.
Yes, of course, yes. Yeah.
But I was thinking, do you think, this is question for Charlotte and for Anastasia and anybody who basically saw Washed and Freiraum, do you think that at the end of Freiraum, when Patricia, the protagonist, sits on the, the men's spreader, do you think something like that could happen in any other setting, but Berlin, because Berlin is a democratic city, it's not something like, do you think something like that could happen in a film that Daphna made, Washed, because this is quite dramatic film. Anastasia, if you have any opinion about it. Or
yeah, if that could happen in Daphna's film?
Yeah, I mean, when you watch the Daphne's film, it's more about she cannot take so much space.
Yeah, they're very similar. I was actually thinking of that before, I was looking at the films right before our talk.
Yeah.
And they are actually very similar in that they are about bodies taking up space.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's also interesting that the actress is a dancer as well. Is that what you just said, Charlotte?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
But the question is if that could happen in Daphna's film, or
it could happen not in Daphna's film, but maybe in the cultural setting of Daphne.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's
different.
Kind of a heavy topic.
No.
Yeah, that seems much more like a Berlin specific thing.
Yeah, I think I was sort of like, with the ending, I was sort of trying to find a non-violent way that would sort of, present, like hold up a mirror in a way to the guy in the film, like who's manspreading. And I was thinking about it for a long time, actually, like how would I resolve this situation? And I think like ending on a comedic note in this setting was sort of the right choice, although I still feel like, I get very mad about the situations, I just want to punch people in the face really when this kind of stuff happens to me. But I think resolving it like this, it is lighthearted and people laugh about it, but at the same time, it sort of makes you question like the absurdity of the situation and the fact that it's like, okay, you're gonna do this to me, then I'm gonna fucking sit on your lap because.
I think this is what you basically presented in your film, that manspreading in general is very absurd. It's something that it's not necessary. It's something that it's not biologically there for men to be doing. And when a protagonist sits on the manspreader, it's basically what you're saying. It's super absurd. And if you can do that, then I can do another absurd thing, which is sit on you. But Washed, for example, is Anastasia or Charlotte or anybody who saw the film. And if anybody wants to join, please, this is not like a debate just for three of us. What do you think about how traumatic do you consider Washed? For me, there are some scenes that I can still not watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's super powerful film.
It's super hard.
I think the first time I saw it in a cinema, I think I actually cried. And I had already seen it previously, just looking at the submissions, but there was something about seeing it in a dark room, like with a bunch of people. It's an amazing, powerful film.
Would anybody else want to add something? If any of you saw Washed, what is your opinion about the film?
I also feel what really adds to this, I'm going to just chime in again here. I think what really adds to this atmosphere that you were just talking about is the sound design as well, like this constant rumbling of the drums of the washing machines. I still remember it. I mean, it's been a while since I saw it back at GRRL House in 2019, but I still remember that. Like, it's really intense, and I think it adds a lot to it. Yeah.
Charlie, you, because you are the only author present, I'm going to focus on you more. So, what is why doing films, and why doing films the way you do it and with the topic you do it?
I mean, I think this sort of ties into something that I said previously, like this thing about pointing your magnifying glass at an issue that you see in everyday life. And it can be like a minute thing, but I think as filmmakers, we have a possibility to, you know, to be that magnifying glass, to really like pick something that we experience or that, you know, somebody else is experiencing and point our camera at it and, you know, make it seen. It's like making the unseen seen. And I think that's, if I had, yeah, it's a tough question to answer, but I think that's something that definitely drives me, like this, the possibility to find these very, very small things. Yeah.
Yeah, but what do you think, like Anastasia or Charlotte, do you think that there is a female gaze, if there is like existing male gaze, which means the male gaze objectifies anything that it's not male, or maybe even not white, or not maybe even middle class? Do you think that female gaze is existing, or feminist gaze, or anything that could be described as that? Is there a difference?
Is there a difference?
Yeah, does it exist, female gaze or feminist gaze? Or is just the reverse thing, or, you know?
Let me think about it.
Oh, Anastasia, come on.
No, I definitely think a female gaze exists.
I was just being, you know, I wanted to be like, of course it's existing. I think yes, Charlie.
Sorry. I think another, like the more interesting question is maybe, is it the opposite of a male gaze? Because I definitely think that it's not. Like when we talk about the male gaze, like you mentioned Lara Mulvey, it's we mostly know what is talked about, but I think talking about a female gaze sometimes is so difficult because there's not, like, we don't have such a variety of, you know, we don't have a history, like a huge history of films to look back on, which we can definitely, you know, call having had a female gaze. I think we're still like building this, and we're still like sort of trying to find it. I think there are definitely films that do sort of explore this world through a feminine lens.
Or feminist. It doesn't. I prefer feminist than feminine, but it's fine. I think they're like different types, but
yeah.
The one that really deconstructs the male gaze, if so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, what about in your other movies that you made, Charlotte? Is the theme of feminism always present, or queerness, or?
I mean, it depends. Like I mostly work on like documentaries and music videos, but in the narrative work that I've done, it's definitely a huge topic for me. And my latest film, Hysteria, also deals with like queer feminist issues, and it's sort of like at a crossroads between. I mean, every woman experiences sexism in everyday life, but in this case, it's something that happens to a lesbian couple, and there's sort of this like intersectionality happening there. So I think just through the fact that I myself am a queer woman and I'm experiencing this in my everyday life, it is a topic for me as a filmmaker as well. Yeah, and I think it's still, we're still not at a point where I feel like it's still not talked about enough, and there's still so many things that I feel, so many stories that I feel want to be told. And you still see the same stuff over and over again. But I think now, things are changing, and you see there's a bit of a shift happening. But yeah, I definitely still am driven by these stories that are very personal to me.
Anastasia.
Oh yeah, I just had a question about Hysteria. Is it public now?
Actually it's premiering on Monday via United Stream. On I think Facebook and YouTube and on their website. The stream starts at 3 p.m. but we actually don't have a time yet, like an exact time limit, because there's like a program around it, a program concerning International Women's Day. So it's going to be like an 8-hour long stream, and somewhere in between, there's going to be our premiere. So if you want to watch it, tune in.
It's also a short film too.
Is it short film or Hysteria?
It's a short film, yeah. It's I think in total 15 minutes roughly. Yeah, we shot it last summer actually, when it was still possible to shoot relatively comfortably.
It's going to happen this year also, so it's fine. Anastasia, tell me, why did you pick Synchronizacija and On a Dimly Lit Path for the Frišno? What is the reasoning and why those two films? Because
so both of those films were submitted last year, and I actually had planned to put them into our final show at the Brattle Theater, but that was canceled. So I wanted to put them into something because I think both of them are very strong for different reasons. And Synchronization, visually, it's just a gorgeous film.
Oh, it's luscious.
Yeah, the art direction, the cinematography, I was really just blown away by it. And the topic and the ending, I thought was fantastic. And like I said, I always want to have, like to program kind of traditional narrative films. And then with Janae's film, it's more of, a video art piece. And I find that typically with film festivals, the video art, they usually have like a video art section or an experimental section. And I think that's unfortunate because I think we should be able to view video art in the same way as like kind of traditional cinema. I think it's almost saying that one is weaker than the other, like one is a weaker format, let's say. So Janae's film, I thought really kind of showed what it's like in quarantine during this coronavirus, what it can do on relationships. And it's just kind of a very slow, beautiful piece take on relationships during this weird time that we're living in. And that's how I took it. I don't know if that's exactly what she intended, but yeah.
Doesn't matter. So you want somehow to make video art sort of equal with the narrative films, yeah?
Yeah, and also from seeing so many submissions every year, like now I've been curating for almost 7 years, and the amount of kind of non-linear films and experimental films that I see, I don't know if it's something that women are more drawn to, but it's so apparent. Like I'd say about 60% of the films that I see for Girl House are video art and experimental. And for some reason, like in popular cinema, that genre is not very, I don't know if it's not respected or that just looked on as something weird and people can't understand, but I really want audiences to view it more and to see how amazing it actually is. Yeah.
This is because
I'm kind of rambling on, but I don't know if you kind of get what I'm saying.
The thing is that the narrative film is the masculine form. However, because this was how it was established. And it's fine. It's all good if you make feminist narrative films and by deconstructing the content. But when it comes to video art or experimental films, basically you are deconstructing what is seen as a rule.
Yeah.
Is the sort of revolt or the resistance towards what is seen as quality. And I think to somehow highlight or express more the experimental films are also something that it needs to be seen and appreciated. I think this is also a very important segment when it comes to feminist festivals or also feminist films or anything that has to do with queerness, feminism, intersectionality. The point is that we need to deconstruct something that is seen as normal, and narrative film definitely is seen as the standard. Nothing wrong with it, but still, I think this is a very good point that you are somehow enhancing it, making it more and more, I don't know, normal in some matter, you know. So anybody from the audience saw all 4 films, or have anything to ask or said or comment to the films? But because now we can basically make it as a film debate about the 4 films. I'm sorry that Anna Kasinska is not with us, but the synchronizatia, I think the film is also gorgeous, as Anastasia said it. Žiga.
Yeah, maybe I can just add something to the previous debate about narrative film.
Yes.
It's not that just narrative film is norm, but a narrative film about male rage, as I was talking with film critics, because there are a lot of still the most number of critics are male and older white males. So the norm is like a narrative film about male rage, like we can see Godfather, Apocalypse Now, or films like that. And people who are like brought up in this norm and also watch these films on television kind of don't take other films with other topics and with other narratives or other structures so seriously because of that. And also not so many articles are written about that. They don't get so much distribution, they don't get so much money for production. So I think the problem is even deeper through this narrative thing.
Yeah, it's the societal and it's structural thing. But Charlie, how is with funding your films? Is it a problem, do you think? Or also when it comes to making your films, is it, first thing I'm gonna ask is funding. The other thing is it easier to work with women?
Well, that's 2 very interesting questions. I think, especially as a filmmaker who's, you know, trying to wing it independently and sort of like, you know, I want to just do my thing and be able to, you know, like I'd rather shoot with a small team rather than, you know, get like a huge production funding and then it's going to take 7 years until there's a film. I think what I found works best for me is actually trying new alternatives like crowdfunding, you know, like if you have a community, if you have a topic that's going to be interesting to a bunch of people. I was really surprised by the amount of support that I got for Hysteria, for my past project, you know, and then of course, like going the punk rock way, like I did with Freiraum, you know, it's just me, my camera, and one friend who did the sound, and then I did, you know, everything else by myself. That's also an option. I think these days we care a little too much about the, you know, production size and the fact that it all has to be like shiny and great and looks stunning, rather than the stories that we're trying to tell. But obviously, you know, for some projects you will need a bit of money, but yeah, I mean, eventually it would be nice to like come to a point where you can actually live off those projects that are sort of the soul projects. But yeah, I found that there's always somehow like a different way to get to your goal. But yeah, I mean, with a different project, I'm in a similar situation right now. We're trying to get funding for a documentary, and with this one, we sort of have to take the official route, and it's just been a tedious process that's been going on for like almost 3/4 of a year now. So yeah, funding is always an issue.
I think that male filmmakers and their sole projects get funded easier and more?
I think,
what
you know,
is your experience? Just this
I
is
mean, from my experience, like what I've experienced is that in Germany, the structure is so rigid because you have to, you know, to get state funding, you have to have come from a film school and you have to have, you know, you have to be on this sort of, in this roster of people that have graduated from these state funded schools. And if you didn't go there, it's extra hard for you as a director, like as a young upcoming director, to get funding. You either have to have, you know, huge names backing your project, otherwise it's going to be next to impossible. I lost my train of thought here. What was your question again?
The question was, are male, from your experience?
Oh, yeah. And I think it depends, you know. I feel like because the system is so rigid and it's more about, you know, who's who and who knows who, there's still, you know, the scene is still male dominated. The industry is still definitely male dominated. So I feel like, you know, still some projects might be, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but I feel there is definitely some structural issues within the industry, especially in Germany, because it's just so difficult to get your foot in the door as a newcomer, especially as a female newcomer. Yeah, but there's specific funds for women these days, which is great. There's specific funds that target projects which deal with sort of these societal issues, which was also something that kickstarted my short film Hysteria. You know, and there's these alternatives, so at least that's a bright little bright horizon.
What do you think, Anastasia? Do you have any experiences with any?
I mean, it's kind of how Girl House all started. It was, I was sick of seeing. Basically, it's like I want to elevate work. The people who do not have the same financial backing, and people who don't have that financial backing are usually underrepresented. And yeah, that's why we're always trying to show low budget DIY filmmaking. And also, my personal taste, I like that kind of grungy style. I mean, of course, I love glossy, beautiful, polished films too, but there's something about knowing that, like, you know, a 49-year-old single mom made this short film with her children as the actors, and the grandfather is like back there putting, like, having the lights and some, you know, like the whole, on the neighborhoods helping them make a short film. I find that so exciting. And yeah, maybe it's not as glossy and as beautiful, but I actually, and I enjoy it more. I don't know. But
I think it's more than it's, I'm gonna again say it's basically deconstruction how to make films. You know, if you can engage friends, community, family, and make it something, as you said, grimy and not so glossy. It really doesn't matter. Apparently, we are so trained to see film always as something that needs to be so seamlessly done.
Yeah.
And we somehow cannot appreciate that all this dirt and all these, you know, cracks that basically you can see while doing or producing a film is something that is really magical and has much more weight than anything that is super, super, super polished.
Yeah.
So, of course, supporting, I think Girl House Cinema does magnificent work when it comes to supporting do-it-yourself projects and low-budget projects, because this is, as you said, it's so underrepresented, and just because it's so underrepresented doesn't mean that it's low quality. Maybe it's low quality when you see it, but not low quality when it comes to content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Something I think that also feminist films or anything that has to do with feminist deconstruction of films, that it elevates, that it's about content. It's not about how how glossy it is or how beautifully it's made or how technically perfect it's made. It's regardless, and I think this is the good the good message that you are doing, Anastasia, with your project in your festival, and Charlie, of course, you, by doing the films that basically deconstruct everything that bothers you. And this is what the point of feminism is. It's your personal experience, and you are the one who has the power to say, well, fuck it, I'm going to show what really is the problem in this society. It's not just about guys chasing their own dreams or having their own traumas. I think women has much more to say, and not just women, anybody who is not being part of the white supremacist society or the class that rules still anything that's happening to us. I'm sorry, I'm ranting now, but this is this sociologist has woken up.
But you're spot on, I think. I just remembered you asked me, you were asking me a question, and now I have an answer that sort of ties into what you just said, which is this feminist aspect of deconstructing. And you were asking me if I feel there's a difference in working with women rather than working with men on set, I believe. And I have to say, like, I've had a wonderful experience working on Hysteria with a set that was 90% female. I've never had this sort of environment before. It was something that I was so thankful for, because for the first time it really felt like it was a different atmosphere and a different vibe, and it really deconstructed on so many layers, like these hierarchies that you're used to working on set. I mean, like, I think we were 18-ish people working on set, but not for 1 second, not for 1 minute, there was a moment where we felt, where anybody felt like, they had to, start yelling at people and start screaming at them to, be faster. And it was so chill, and everyone was like calm and relaxed and taking care of each other, because everyone sort of knew what kind of film they were making, and they understood the message of it, and sort of the weight of it, and the fact that this has transported into the production too. I feel there's a trace of that in the final film now. So it's really like it's come full circle. And that was a really great experience. And I think I'm gonna keep that for every future production.
But Charlie, if you are the director, you are the one who is directing the vibe, you know that.
Yes, but it's a collective environment, and everyone gives a bit of their energy into it. And I feel that, if you choose the right people,
yes,
it's like curating a good party, curating the vibe.
You are the one you are the opinion maker in this case. Then it's the question if people are listening to you, sort of, but it's basically you set the vibe. So this is what every director I met have done, and it all depends about him. And this is what you are doing if you are creating a good vibe. How the other responds, it's their thing, but still it's you. So, cheers to that. So anybody wants to add anything? I think now is the time that maybe we can discuss the films. If anybody wants to ask anything to Anastasia or say anything about the films, it's open space, it's safe space, as you can see, not very formal. Oh, please don't be shy. We all know each other here.
I would like to ask something. Yes.
Cool.
I would like to ask you, Charlotte. When I watched your short movie, there is this moment when a lady is seeing what is happening. Was this kind of she is understanding and being a friend to her, or what was this? This is the vibe that I got, that she was the only person actually seeing what is going on. I don't know if you can say.
I think in a way, it's a brief moment of solidarity also between women. It's this thing of like, I see you, I see what's happening, and everyone else isn't really. I think it's a very important moment, and I'm really glad we added it in. Maybe you even recognize the person. yeah, I think it's these sort of moments, they're so important. They're so important, like solidarizing with other women within issues like this and talking to other women about it. It's really what helps us overcome these things. Yeah.
Yes, I really thought that was a very strong moment in the 2 minutes that were there.
Jana, have you seen other films also?
I just watched the Oprano. What's the
Oprano? Yeah, Washed.
Yes,
What do you think
the
about
Washed.
Washed?
Yeah, others too. I still have to watch it.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add anything or ask anything? Sasha, maybe.
Yes.
Misha.
Yes.
Yes.
Misha can go first.
No, Sasha, you can go. It's,
Sasha.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so, well, I don't think I have any questions, but I need to say that all of the 4 movies have somehow different themes, but at the same time, they say the same thing to me. They are very evocative of our experiences, of things that we live in the everyday, either our fantasies or our worlds or even our realities. So, you know, they kind of really made me think of how this visual medium can be one of the representation for you know, feminist thought, but also how to broaden our little space, which sometimes feels like a bubble as well. You know, how these movies can really help a wider audience to inhabit our words, to empathize with us, and to see how we live and how different our experiences are to other people. And maybe this is why I don't have any questions, because all of the things that are shown in these movies are so close to our experiences and our everyday lives, or they could be our everyday lives, for better or for worse. So
you made such a great statement when you said that you basically can empathize with other experience, and it's something that could happen to everybody, be it manspreading, be this traumatic wash situation, be this partnership situation, this uneasiness, be it sort of a funny thing when male gender is extinct. But this is what really the point is of, I think, of the feminist film as such, that they show other population, I will say men now, how this is also the reality that we are living. It's not just the thing that men are telling us how we are living and representing it to the world. This is the time now that we say, listen, this is how it feels when you men spread. This is how it feels when you touch me and I don't want to be touched violently. This is how it feels when I feel trapped in a situation. And I think this is the most important thing, that it somehow gives voice to something that was so invisible. And I think it's so fantastic that all those filmmakers now have the chance to basically present work everywhere, because there are options to, and people are hungry for them. Women are hungry for that kind of stories. So I think it's a fantastic comment and thought that you shared with us. Thank you. Misha, you said you wanted to say something, I remember.
Yes, there was a moment in the movie Washed at the end. It seemed very powerful to me that the woman stood, how do you say, pralnica.
I don't know, washing room? I don't think that's the word.
I don't know, it was a construction. She worked there, and then she was standing and watching like into the future or outside, and I felt like, because she was standing backwards, actually, with the back, and we could see her back, it felt like I'm looking at her back, but also I'm looking forward with her, like we are all standing united with her. It felt like that, like we are strongly connected with her, and that we can be united and watch into the brighter future. It was, I don't know, it was a very powerful and optimistic moment for me, something like that.
I think this is the great point that you basically said, that it's not that we are watching women or other people, you know, like opponents, like face to face. And when you are standing next to each other, and this is basically also the motto of FeFi. It's not eye for an eye, it's eye with another eye looking in the same direction. And this is what Washed basically at the end says. It's you are watching, and me and everybody is watching with the protagonist into the same direction. And this is where the future basically lies, being united, being in some sort of solidarity, instead of watching each other and being each other opponents. I think this is the great conclusion that you made from basically from the ending of such a, you know, powerful film as Washed is. So Misha, fantastic. So anybody else, you see how things are happening, it's not so tough. Yes, Jana. Come.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this discussion because and it shows that you know, when we watch, as well as we watch a movie, how all these moments of solidarity is really, you know, moments that touch us. And to continue, what was for me that moment also that really touched me was in the beginning of this help me out, synchronization, yeah. And you know, I was immediately like, when she says what year they're in, you know, I was immediately starting to calculate how old I'm gonna be in that year, you know, because I'm like, I really want to be there. So yeah, and that would be also my question for her. Probably, I mean, yeah. I perceive it also as some kind of ironic reference to the 1984, but maybe one of you knows what, yeah. Or how did you see the beginning of this movie, and like these women living in this amazing, beautifully house together?
Honestly,
yeah.
For me personally, I know, Anastasia, you like synchronization also. I think it reminded me, and Charlotte, if anybody else could see, it reminded me of Sofia Coppola, with all this lusciousness and all this feminine stuff, like sweets and all this boudoir-like environment. When also a lot of plants is also always a sign of fertility. And this is basically what the film is about. It's that women are fertile in general. They are the ones who will recreate. But for me, Synchronization was more or less like, it was like, for me, it was really a comedy, to be honest. You know, I think it's the only film I saw that men haven't said a word. It was only women talking, and the guy dies before he says anything. He just chokes on the food, and then he left. So basically, I think I think Giga also posted somewhere that also on FeFi side that there are always in the films women are speaking much less than men. And when I saw Synchronization, I thought, here we go, the first film that a guy is silent and women are talking all the time, and fantastic. And if you haven't seen all 4 of those films in Frišno, so much a recommendation. The other thing that I want somehow to pinpoint is that I don't know why Washed and Frišno are so connected, but it's all about bloody solidarity in those 2 films. I'm serious. I think also in Synchronization, there's solidarity between women living together, and they're synchronized when it comes to cycles. So I think this thread of solidarity is basically going through all three movies. Of course, on a dimly lit path is different. It has different type of mood, but those three movies are more alike than maybe you can see from the first viewing. It's really about women's solidarity, and it's functioning as hell. So really, really, some, I don't know, intuitive choice maybe. I don't know. Yes, Masha is. Sasha is clapping. So how about others? Those who are video is off. The rule was at the beginning that you should show yourself, because the motto of the FeFi is, you know, looking in the same direction and looking at each other also, if you want to join us visually. Otherwise, stay the way you are. I'm really too bad that Anna is not here, but nevertheless, any other thoughts that maybe somebody would like to share when it comes to Frišno and when it comes to this segment or to the films?
Maybe I'd just like to say something. Hi.
Anna, hi.
Hi. First of all, I cannot show myself because I don't have a camera.
Okay.
So that's the one thing. And the other thing is I wasn't able to check out all the films until now, unfortunately. But I will now that I'm listening to this discussion, which is quite interesting. And I would just like to say that it's really nice that the first feminist festival in Slovenia is born. So I'd like to congratulate for this.
Thank you. Thank you. The delivery, the birth was quite easy, because the mothers and the fathers and you know, midwives were very capable. It was very easy for this festival to be born, and I really like it. That you like it, Anna, also. But listen, Anna, you haven't seen the films then, yeah? You're going to see it now afterwards.
Yeah, afterwards. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just. It was too much of everything. So
life happens, and sometimes you need to wait for things to happen also. So you will enjoy it definitely. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. The selection was really, really on point. Anastasia, this is compliment for me and for you. Thank you, Anna. So anybody else maybe want to add anything? Has any question about FeFi as such, as festival, or maybe?
Actually, yeah, why not? Tell us a bit more. Why? How come it happened? I mean, now, just FeFi. Yeah, this timing. Why?
Why not?
Not the March and everything, but I mean, how come? Yeah, the year maybe.
The year happened because Jana Burger, in the public also, she used to live in Berlin, and we met through a mutual friend, because we were both feminists that needs to meet, and there was just, you know, coffees and beers and all that stuff, and then the idea was born, because Jana knew that I'm a sociologist of gender and film, and Jana is feminist, super into Madalene. Also you need to check out. And then, you know, this is how it is. You're outside, you want to do projects together, and it was, I think, we discussed it maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, you know, it was just growing up, the idea, and I'm actually surprised that we only now have feminist film festival. I'm like I already said in the many times, and it was really about time, and I hope that we continue and make it many
you
more.
Must continue, I think.
Yeah,
it's a necessity.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is to develop it and to develop it together with everyone who's coming to the festival, and with everyone who wants to be part or wants to contribute in any way. So we're open for suggestions. Yeah, I'm really happy also for the collaborations and for now for Rdeče zore to be with us, and it's really the idea to connect. I think, especially in Slovenia, I mean the whole world, but in Slovenia, we cannot work separately. We need to connect. I think that's that's the solidarity we need, and
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, actually.
But I don't know how it is when it always takes time from idea to the realization. So maybe it looks like now it has something to do with this timing, but basically it was already here. It just didn't somehow materialize. And it materialized a couple of months ago, and this is how it started. And I think the thing, when, like Charlie said before, when you're doing something, you need to have right people around you. And when you have right people around you, then things can happen. And luckily, I think we just somehow managed that the core of the festival, Žiga, me, and Jana, it just somehow happened. So I think this is always important. What kind of people can you find and work with them? It's not just about idea, So,
yeah, of course.
But also the thing is that we want to, Frišno, I think in the future is going to be international in this year, because it's the first year and because I'm, in Berlin, and I want to somehow show Slovenia what Berlin can offer with GRRL HAUS CINEMA and with the directors and films presented there. We will always want to have this connection with the outside world, the Slovenia with Germany or any other country. And also with the Rdeče zore, I'm so happy that this bonding, Sasha is from Rdeče zore, the Red Dawn Festival. It's also nice that it's not something that would be separated, because maybe it might be similar, because it is a queer feminist festival also, the Red Dawn. But this is how it's supposed to be. We need to work together, because then things can really, really change structurally, not just being by yourself, but in this case, within Slovenian space, and also when it comes to GRRL HAUS CINEMA and FeFi, also we are creating a new bond. What else? This is the main reason to do stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I am also from Red Dawns, by the way.
I think you can see our flowery.
Yeah, I see that. You have the similar. I was like, what? If it's a Zoom thing?
Yeah, now it's going to be a Zoom thing.
It's going to be a Zoom thing. So Anna and Masha are both from the Red Dawn, the festival.
Yeah.
Feminist festival from Ljubljana.
Yeah, sure. We really felt that co-hosting the first Slovenian Feminist Film Festival was, well, first and foremost, it's an honor. We were, maybe all of us were also kind of jealous that we didn't think about it before. At least I was.
Well,
yeah, exactly. It's about who comes first.
Sure, we cannot do everything. And, as we said many times during this conversation, it's necessary, and we feel that it's a part of our shared community, and we know that we need to care for one another, and that we need to showcase one another's work and support it and support each other's efforts, because this is, the only way that we can go into the future, basically.
Yeah.
Come on, Red Dawn is really long. It's been on the scene like for a couple of years.
Oh, you know, teenager.
Oh,
Almost. Just about not a teenager anymore.
Is it because I was DJing like 10 years ago, or even more, 15 maybe. How old is it? I'm serious.
How old? 22nd.
22 years.
No.
The 22nd years.
Oh my God. You see?
Yeah.
It's like
but you know, we're still
adult and a newborn. Thank you. Thank you for supporting us.
The pleasure is mutual, I think so. Thank you for, you know, collaborating with us.
Always.
Yeah. So everyone inviting everyone also to check out the Red Dawns, Rdeče zore. The festival started already, and you can check out the program on their website or Facebook.
And Charlotte, please invite us to your premiere of his.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, you're free to join if you, I think if you just type in Hysteria on Facebook or any social media like Hysteria Film, it should pop up. It's on, and the platform United We Stream. I don't know if you have it in Slovenia, but I think it's in a couple of different places in the world right now. They have like a specific local United We Stream now, and I think it's going to be broadcast on each, on each station. But you can find it online. It's going to be free. And
we have United We Stream on Monday with her new premiere of her movie Hysteria. Red Dawn Festival already started, and you have some Polish exhibition or something like that, yeah?
Yeah, it's an exhibition of posters from the all Polish women's strikes. It's in Alcatraz Gallery.
Yeah?
Sorry?
Anna, that happened last year. Those?
No, just 2020, yeah. Yeah, those.
And are continuing this year, actually, because the abortion laws were put into the statute.
And Anastasia, GRRL HAUS CINEMA is super active also, despite the COVID-19, yeah?
Yeah, we are continuing with our online screenings, and over the summer, it looks like that cinemas will be open again. So we'll have a bunch of open air screenings. We're really excited about that. And that'll be in July.
So a lot of things happening. GRRL HAUS CINEMA, Hysteria, Red Dawns, FeFi. So there's plenty to choose from and plenty to support. So in this moment, I would like to say thank you to all of you who participated, to all of you who were my guests. Special thanks to Anastasia from GRRL HAUS CINEMA. A special greeting to Charlie and her, mind that keep creating. Anna and Sasha from Red Dawn. This is my first experience with Feminist Festival in the past. And of course, I would like to say thanks also to Jana and Žiga, the other two people who are doing FeFi. So this is the Trio Fantasticus. And thank you so much for joining this Zoom, and those who were watching us through Facebook Live. Just join us tomorrow. It's continuing 8 o'clock debate, and on Monday the same tomorrow. It's Retro Eroticon. You can watch it also online, and on Monday Slovenian short films and debate. It's also the debates are going to happen tomorrow in Slovenian. So, but on Monday in English. So anybody wants to join, you're more than welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Berlin.
Bye. Ciao. Bye, Anna. Bye.